Good afternoon, everyone. It's David Schlotthauer here, back in the home weather office for this Saturday, August the 12th, 2023. In this update, we're going to be updating you on some pretty serious heat that continues across the deep south with heat indexes over 115 degrees, some areas approaching 120-degree heat indexes. Pretty dangerous heat down there. And then, of course, we're going to be updating you on the severe weather. Each and every day, we're talking about severe weather that is anticipated across much of the United States with tornadoes, damaging winds, and some pretty large hail also expected with that. And then we'll, of course, give you an update on when this weather pattern might change. Taking a look at our current visible satellite imagery provided by the College Edu page, there will be a link in the description below this video leading to that website where you can view these satellite images for free. And we're taking a look right now at the US with the current weather conditions that are going on. And yeah, we got some showers and thunderstorms now moving into the southeast. They're popping up again. Some of them are strong. We got the monsoon here kind of hanging around across Arizona, New Mexico, and the Four Corners. And then, of course, we got a weather system up here across the Great Lakes triggering that enhanced risk for severe weather today. Talking about tornadoes, damaging winds, especially the winds and the hail too, coming with that severe weather event. And then, of course, we got another shortwave trough up here getting ready to move into the northern tier of the United States this evening into the overnight hours. That will also trigger another threat for severe weather for the Midwest in a couple of days. Now, not only that, we have an upper level low over California. This is going to kind of wrap around some moisture, some thunderstorms across the high mountains of the Sierra. So just be aware of that if you're doing anything outdoors. You might see some showers and thunderstorms around. As long as this upper level low, it's just going to kind of sit around here, triggering those thunderstorms because we have the flow actually wrapping all the way around and it's coming in out of the easterly direction. So any of the thunderstorms that do move, that pop up in the Sierra, some of those could even spill all the way down into the higher foothills, into the west slope of the Sierra. So now we're going to take a look at the National Weather Service here. This is very, very concerning. I mean, this just has not ended at all for, as long as I've been looking at this. I mean, we're going on to day 10 or day 11 with the relentless heat day after day with excessive heat warnings that do continue all the way across Texas, southern Oklahoma, Louisiana. I mean, the entire state there under an excessive heat warning all the way down into Florida. Heat advisories all the way up the east coast here of the Carolinas. I mean, this is just ridiculous with excessive heat warnings and heat advisories in Alabama, Georgia, Mississippi, Arkansas, Oklahoma, and look at this, even southernmost Kansas, a few counties are under heat advisories because of the searing heat. And then, yep, there's a tornado watch over Pennsylvania, eastern or western New York, also for eastern portion there of Ohio. Yeah, we have a couple of tornado warnings that do continue at the moment, and this just updated. Still looking at that. They have extended some of the heat advisories, it looks like, here in portions of the Carolinas. And then we cannot forget about the Pacific Northwest. There is also more heat products here, excessive heat warning, fire weather warnings, heat watches, heat advisories. I mean, this is really ridiculous seeing this weather pattern really evolve. A lot just heat waves just across the country. I really hope there is some relief, and it looks like might see some relief across the Pacific Northwest by the end of next week, but I'm sorry to say for the Deep South, it might be a while, maybe another 7 or 8 days for this heat before, hopefully, fingers crossed, it finally breaks down. So now, looking at the NAM 12-kilometer model, we're going to go to short range, and then we'll be looking at the European model beyond that. So looking at the precipitation forecast, by the way, this is a composite reflectivity precipitation type and cloud cover, so kind of 3 things in one on the map. And we can see, yep, there is our severe weather anticipated for the Northeast this evening into the overnight hours. Got the monsoon popping up across the Four Corners, but otherwise across the Northwest, across the Deep South, boy, Texas, you need rain quite needed, or it's needed a lot there. probably not going to see anything anytime soon, just because of the pattern that you're in, just going to be resilient of seeing any rain there. Over the next 36 hours, this is for Sunday night into Monday morning. Again, there's that disturbance that's up here. This is going to be moving in out of the northwest into the Midwest by Sunday night into Monday. This is going to trigger another round of severe weather. We might see maybe another round of tornadoes, damaging winds, and some large hail associated with that. You can even see a little bit of a comma here. So this is a pretty organized upper-level disturbance as it kind of moves across the northern tier and the Midwest. And then by Monday night into Tuesday, that disturbance moves into the northeast, bringing, you know what, more rain, maybe more severe weather, and some breezy winds anticipated. The monsoon gets going still over the four corners, so just be aware of that. And then maybe some showers and storms over the southern U.S. But I mean, the thing that really irritates me is it hasn't rained for quite some time over southern Alabama. Georgia's had some fair share of rain, but I mean, it's been really dry over here across much of Texas. I mean, it just really, it kind of worries me that you haven't had a lot of rainfall. And when we take a look at our precipitation anomalies here in the last 30 days, you could really see why. I mean business. I mean, this is, let's just do the 30-day. I mean, below average rainfall all across Texas, Louisiana, I mean, Mississippi, southern Alabama. I have friends. Crazy Chicken Dude lives down there. I mean, I have Brian Track Hurricanes lives in Texas. I mean, we have people that are dealing with some severe drought conditions because rainfall amounts over the last 30 days have been 3 to even 4.5 inches, even 5 inches below normal. That's really, really puzzling to see. So the question is, are you going to see any more rain in the forecast? And the chances of that occurring, pretty slim. I don't think we're going to see much in the way of anything. When we look at this model, it's going to be very dry here, probably over the next 3 to 4 days. Very little to no rainfall. Might not even see any cloud cover. So it's just that searing heat that you're going to just be dealing with. More on that in just a little bit. Now, looking at our extended forecast here, we're going to go and look further out. Are we going to see more activity for the Deep South? More hopeful of rainfall? Let's go and take a look. This is the European model, by the way. So this is a global model. And this is giving us an idea that there might be another disturbance here, bringing more severe weather. This would be for day 5 for Iowa, for Missouri. Not for Missouri, for Minnesota. There we go. There we go. Got to get it right. For northern Wisconsin, even for Michigan there, and southern portion there of Ontario and Quebec, Canada, getting some rainfall. So a good little piece of energy going to be ejecting through Canada. And then going forward here, it's not, I mean, no rain down here. This is going for day 7. No rain at all. The heat's going to rebuild, I'm afraid. The monsoon going to stay out west. The activity probably going to stay across the northeast. More rainfall, luckily, for Florida, but not a whole lot. And then, I mean, we're going through the next 10 days, folks, for the Deep South with serious heat, with no rainfall at all. And when we take a look at our next 10 days, this is very bad. This is awful to see. I mean, that whole area, no rainfall at all in some of these areas for the next 10 days. That's not enough. Let's take a look at the GFS really quickly. Maybe 1/10 of an inch is all you're going to see. Let's look at the Canadian model really quickly. Very dry, very parched. Again, so a lot of the operational guidance really indicating you're not going to see much rain. And the below average rainfall chances do continue down here for the entire 10-day forecast. So that's a look at the week ahead as far as that goes. What about our severe weather? So this is a look at the day 1 categorical outlook. And yeah, we do have some severe weather chances for Oklahoma, northern Texas, and southern Kansas. Southern Kansas this evening into the overnight hours. More severe weather chances for the central and southern portion of South Dakota, northern portion there of Nebraska, We also got the bigger severe weather event unfolding across Pennsylvania and New York. This again is for day 1. That's through tomorrow morning. And of course, for northern Georgia, you're going to have severe weather today. What about day 2? Same thing, slight risk for severe weather. Again, that's that disturbance. It's that disturbance that is up here. See that? That's the disturbance that's going to give us the severe weather across the Midwest for Sunday morning through Monday morning. Doesn't look that significant, but it wouldn't surprise me if there's an upgrade here to an enhanced risk in later outlooks. For day 3, that's for Monday morning through Tuesday morning, August the 14th and the 15th. We have a slight risk for severe weather over, say, Kentucky, West Virginia, and Pennsylvania. And that might eventually may get upgraded to a higher probability. So that's a look at severe weather. Day 5, there's another area. That's that disturbance that we looked at on the European model. For Wednesday through Thursday, the 16th and the 17th of August, we might have to watch that day also closely. Now let's take a look at temperatures. That's really the main point of this video. Is the temperatures not going to change very much for the Deep South. In fact, they might even get warmer for another couple of days before maybe, hopefully, we'll lose some of the grip on that heat for the Deep South and the Southeast. Let's take this forward. This is for this afternoon. Temperatures right around about 105 to 110 degrees, somewhere in that ballpark, with temperatures right around 90 to 95 degrees for the southeast. We're going to see the heat again tomorrow for the same areas. I mean, this is not going to end, especially for Oklahoma and Texas. Temperatures right around 106 to 110 degrees for your Sunday. And then for your Monday, the heat does sag further south, but also some of that might want to build across the Northwest and the desert Southwest, where California, Oregon, Washington, and western portion there of, say, Arizona might see daytime highs on Monday right around 105, maybe 108 degrees. So in that ballpark of dangerous temperatures, but the Deep South too, not going to look any better at all. Going to continue this probably for the next 2 or 3 days before maybe, well, for portions at least, that is for Louisiana, Mississippi, and Alabama, we might lose some of the heat temporarily before it returns yet again by the end of the week. And you can see this heat wave really kind of hampering or really impacting the West. Going to see temperatures right around 105 to 110 degrees for your Tuesday, and then maybe Wednesday will kind of ease off the heat wave there for California, while again we take our extension out in just a second, that the heat wave will rebuild again for the Deep South. Now these heat indexes, now it's one thing to have your air temperature right around 105 to 110, but it's another thing to have heat indexes breaching 115, 120 degrees. So let's take a look at that. This is for this afternoon. Heat indexes well in excess of 115 degrees. It's miserable out there. We're going to continue that for tomorrow. For Sunday, heat indexes between 115, might even get close to 117 in some areas like Arkansas, Oklahoma, Texas. So even so, that daytime highs up here might be only about 100 because the humidity that's involved might feel like 116 degrees. For, I mean, look at this. For Florida, for the southeastern U.S., 115 plus heat indexes. That's going to continue also for Monday. So this dangerous heat isn't going anywhere until at least Monday, when hopefully we see some hope in sight for at least the northern tier here. Say like for central Texas, for say Tennessee, where we're going to lose the heat. But areas to the south here, I'm sorry, probably not going to get any better anytime soon through Tuesday next week. And when we take a look at the European model, let's go and take this forward all the way out to Wednesday next week. You can see the heat here trying to rebuild. Let's go into Thursday. I mean, look at that. Those are air temperatures. 100 and maybe 10 or 11 degrees. That's very dangerous. That is immensely hot, even for the West. You get the idea. It's going to still be that way. The heat builds back again over the Deep South. And, I mean, look at this. 105 degree temperatures, 108. maybe for northern Texas. And it doesn't get any better here for next Sunday, the 20th of August. The heat really impacts much of the west, or much of the east, I should say, and the Midwest, while cooler weather returns for the west. Now, that's your air temperature. Wait until you see the heat index. Let's go all the way to, this is Wednesday. Your heat index is down here for the desert southwest, probably about 110 plus degrees. It's going to be kind of hot and humid down there thanks to some of that tropical moisture feeding around that subtropical ridge. And then, of course, for the deep south here, heat index is right around about 110, 115 degrees. Going to be miserable. But look at this. This really gets a problem. Heat index is about 108, 110. I mean, look at way up here, even on the Euro. Heat index is between 100, maybe as high as 110 degrees. Just doesn't get any better. I'm sorry I'm going through this pretty quickly. It's just because, I mean, we're just going to see the same thing over and over and over again with this never-ending heat. It breaks a little bit on Wednesday, like we just showed you, or Tuesday especially, but then it all comes back in again on Wednesday and beyond, especially Thursday and Friday and Saturday next week. Well, this will be this week in 24 hours from now, but you get the idea. It's just going to continue. Now, our temperature anomaly forecast, I always like showing this in my videos because this gives us an idea who's going to see below average temperatures or who's going to see above average temperatures. And this is the one-day average, by the way, from the Euro, because I like to blend everything in one. Right, that's just to kind of average things out a little bit more. But we can see here for the next day or so, temperatures will be above average for the deep south, cooler weather for the northern tier of the United States. This is going to continue over the next 3 to 5 days where this pocket of cooler air is going to be moving in. Now, again, there will be temporary relief. It's only going to be maybe a couple of days at most, but then that heat is going to come back. Look at this for the west. Temperatures well above average, anywhere between 10 and 20 degrees above normal for this time of the year for mid-August standards. And then you can see by the time we go into days 7 and 8, yep, what do you see? You see red and orange colors, and that indicates that temperatures are going to be above normal. And look at this, towards the end of the forecast, really warming up pretty significantly here across much of the eastern U.S., with some areas here that could have temperatures 20 degrees above the long-term average. Now, if that wasn't enough, I always like to show you all the ensemble forecast. This is from the Euro. Yep, it is painting a picture of above normal temperatures across much of the eastern and central U.S. And yeah, to be specific, this might continue for a while, possibly through the end of August. You might see temperatures well above normal. And again, that could mean temperatures at or above 100 degrees. And if we look at that, yeah, the ensemble there for Texas paints maybe 100 degrees in Dallas, Austin, Texas. So Brian track hurricanes might be a while before you get any relief. Now, really quickly, I wanted to show you on why this heat wave is not going to break. Well, it's going to break temporarily, but it's going to rebuild again. So we have a complex weather pattern. We have a deep layer ridge here for the deep south. We have another ridge building, kind of splitting off from this main ridge in the deep south. We have this trough over Southern California. But then we also have this trough, a little bit of a kink in the jet stream here at 500 millibars. So what that's going to do is this is going to bring in some cooler weather. And you can see that trough here kind of digging down across the Great Lakes and the upper Midwest. And that's going to flatten this ridge out enough to where, like, areas like, say, pretty much for northern Mississippi, for Arkansas, you're going to see some cooler temperatures. But this high wants to rebuild again. You can see how the heights kind of climb up a little bit for Wednesday, but it's not until after this trough moves out where, yep, this ridge wants to build back in again across Missouri for, say, Illinois, Indiana. That's a strong ridge too, 600 decameters. That is enormous, or abnormally strong, and that's where the heat is going to be building in, and that's going to really lead to some pretty serious heat for the Midwest, and probably going to keep our severe weather away from these areas. But until then, we have some pretty active weather that we're dealing with right now. Well, that's going to sum it up for today's U.S. weather forecast, outlook, and discussion. I sure hope you all like this a lot. If you did, please consider subscribing, hitting that like button, and I will see you back here in the home weather office tomorrow on the tropics. We'll have to look at that a little more closely for what may be to come by mid to late August.